Coming up on The Hooray Show. The truth is that numbers are information. They are not a definition of who you are. Breathe and say that with me. Numbers are information. They are not a definition of who I am. And so I finally just decided to step out from behind the camera, which is what I had been working in for a while when I first started my business, and thought, you know what? I'm just going to produce this. I'm going to be in it. I'm going to call in all my friends and creative folks that I know and just make this happen. And I did. Not knowing your size, by the way, does not protect you and your self-worth. It just prevents your comfort. Welcome to The Hooray Show. I'm Kimmay, your host and undergarment educator turned confidence coach, here to help you uncover your hooray inside, outside, and underneath. Since 2005, I've been supporting folks in the bra fitting room, where they've revealed it all, and we've transformed not just how they see their bodies, but how they see themselves. Now we're taking that same wholehearted support and bringing it to you. There's no airbrushing here, y'all, of bodies, beliefs, or the beautiful mess of being human. Just real stories, honest conversations, and tools for your self-worth journey. Hooray! Hooray, and welcome to The Hooray Show. My name is Kimmay, and you are right now in the hooray zone. Do you know what that means? That means there's no judgment, there's no shame. We're going to lovingly let those things go, and instead, we're letting curiosity and compassion lead the way. That means we can still explore some things that we might want to update or places where we might want to grow, but not from a place of should or shoulding all over ourselves. One of my favorite phrases. So can we just take a deep breath together? Deep breath in. Let it go. And for the next, few minutes or so, let's just be in the hooray zone together. Hooray. So as a bra fitter for 20 plus years, I often hear this phrase, well, I'm a 40D or I'm a 34C or whatever, enter the number and the letter. And I try my very best to not use that language. It is not my favorite way for you to describe yourself. And the truth is, number one, you are not a number. Number two, who you are cannot be determined by the size on the tag. Number three, you can wear more than one size of a bra. So when somebody says, oh, I'm a D cup, I'm like, well, in what band size? And even then, you probably wear 3 or 4 other sizes as well that would fit just as well. Do you know what I'm saying? Like 3 or 4 other sizes are also going to fit you, maybe even more. I have a whole blog post on how 9 different sizes can fit you. So it can be a little confusing, I know, but that's the thing. Like, you're never just one size. It's like with jeans. Do you ever expect to just go out and buy size 27 or a size 5 and then just that's it? That's all you ever wear for the rest of your life? No, that's not how it works. And then finally, sizes can change. You can wear a different size today and then tomorrow. So when you say I am something, that is permanent. This is actually why I love Spanish so much, besides the fact that I'm Latina. I'm half Puerto Rican. The Spanish language makes this really simple because they have 2 different verbs. They really define being I am permanent and I am non-permanent. And when you say, and they also would probably just say I wear a size, whatever. When you say I am, that is like the ser version, which is like to be permanently. And what we want to start using is this estar version, which means like impermanently. That's why, like, when people say to something like, I'm really sad. A really lovely friend of mine suggested instead saying something like, I'm sitting with sadness, or I'm experiencing sadness, or I feel sad today. Because feelings are impermanent. They can change. But if you just claim I am sad, that means like forever and ever you're a sad person. That's just who you are to your core. That's part of your character. No, thank you. So this whole idea of identity really got to me when I was starting out as a bra fitter. And this is why I started this campaign called More Than My Numbers. Because numbers, the number on the tag, the measurement that we take in that bra fitting room, had this weird identity complex for people. And for me, I was just doing my job. I was just measuring people and putting them in bras that fit. And I was like, hooray, we did it. And sometimes I would share that number on the tag and there would be tears. There would be this horrible realization of, "Oh my gosh, I'm something different than I thought I was." And I'm like, "Hold on a minute. While we were in here, I did not change your character. We didn't even change the size of your body. Nothing changed about you, except now you have more information about how to support a really sacred part of your body." And so separating the identity from size was where I started, and then it expanded from there. So we're gonna go on a little journey today about this, like, very small campaign that I created back in 2016, actually probably 2015 to be honest, and how it has evolved into this global movement and taken me around the world to teach and preach this more than my numbers message. Hooray, you're in for a treat. I'm so excited. So, as I mentioned, every single time that I went into the fitting room with somebody and I took that measuring tape to wrap around them, what do you think happened? What would you do? What have you done? Most people would just get really tight and really small, trying to be as small as possible because we have learned in our culture that bigger is bad. And that number on the measuring tape suddenly would define if they were beautiful, if they were valuable, if they were too much or not enough, every single time. And so I actually started a practice of not discussing the size with anybody until we got into something that fit well. I talk about this a lot. You're probably going to hear this little trick of mine constantly because there are some customers who would actually be like, "Okay, what am I? What am I? What size do I wear?" And I'd be like, "Well, hold on a second." We'd have that little discussion about, like, you are not a size. You can wear several different sizes, but who you are as a generous, kind, beautiful, divinely created being is not anywhere on this measuring tape. Excuse you. Nowhere does it say any kind of measurement for that. And then also we go into some education about the different sizes that they could wear and so forth and so on. But I also really felt like we have an opportunity here to discuss why, really get curious, like, why is that coming up? Why is the expectation of wearing a certain size suddenly change things for people? And it's both the number and the letter, for sure. So I started this campaign because I felt like people needed an education, A, on what real bra sizes look like. So if you go to morethanmynumbers.com, you will see I have pictures of so many different people's bodies because I was always really, really honest about what size I wore because I think it blew people's minds. At the time when I was first starting to fit, I was wearing usually a 32D, then it became a 32 double D, and I was a really petite person. I was thin, I had small-ish breasts, but for people, they thought double D meant Dolly Parton, and I was like, "No, no, no. First of all, let's explain how bra sizes work, and that the smaller the number, so that band size, the smaller the cup will be. So a 32 double D is a 1 cup size smaller than a 34 double D, which is 1 cup size smaller than a 36 double D, which is 1 cup size smaller than a 38 double D, and so forth and so on. So a 32 double D is the same cup size volume as a 34D, a 36C, a 38B, a 40A, so forth and so on. This blew people's minds already. So I was like, just the education element alone of seeing real human bodies, what their measurements are, and then what bra size fit them best that day in that particular bra was already like, yes, hooray, I did it. Yes. Oh my gosh, we're like changing people's lives. And then I was like, while we're here, why don't we talk about some other numbers and what we think they mean about us and how we can let go of that sort of definition that they're holding over us. I remember one time I had a woman in the fitting room and I was so excited to fit her. She looked fantastic in the bra, and I was really proud of the fit job I had done. I was like, yes. And I announced quite boldly, "Oh my gosh, did you know you're wearing a 32G?" And the tears that fell from this woman's face. It's why I now take my time to talk about size because numbers mean things to us. And I have so much compassion for her because in her mind, what she thought was, "Oh my gosh, I'm too much. Oh my gosh, every bra is gonna cost $1,000,000 now. Oh my gosh, I'm other. I can't shop in regular stores. I need special bras." Woo! If you're listening at home, raise your hand if you're like, "I've thought that." And so really talking about the normalcy of that size and how normal it was for me was absolutely on my radar, but first we had to talk about just feeling good in her body. So when people ask, what size am I? What size am I? I'm like, let's just get on some bras first and check it out. Like, I sort of play dumb a little bit and I'll be like, you know what? I'm not really sure. Like, as if I don't know, this is all new to me. Let's just try some things and maybe we'll see. And then I bring it in, they'll try to look at the tag. I'm like, hold on, I'm not even sure if this one's gonna fit. So can we just try it on together first? And they're like, okay, fine. We try it on, of course it fits. I know what I'm doing. And then they're feeling so good in their bra. They're like, they do the thing that everybody does when they love a bra. They start to like rub their chest. They're like, oh my gosh, it's amazing. And then I'm like, amazing. Let's try on another one. We tried another one. They've forgotten all about the size, y'all. Forgotten all about it because they look great. They're feeling awesome. Their heart is out. Their shoulders are back. And then I'll go, by the way, would you like to know the size that's fitting best today? Or the size is, more accurately. And they're like, oh my gosh, I totally forgot. Or sometimes they'll be like, I peeped, I saw. And I'm like, okay, how do you feel about that? And some people will actually say no. Sometimes looking at those numbers is too much for people. And I 100% respect that. That is what I'm there for, to help you. You do not have to navigate those sizes if you do not want to. But for some people, that knowledge is really empowering. They had no idea they would wear that size. They would never have picked that out on their own. How empowering to know. So that, again, that alone was enough for me to create this campaign. But the worth part of it and the identity part of it, I was like, this can't just be bra sizes. There's other numbers that we're defining ourselves by. So salary, age, weight, number of children or not, number of relationships. I mean, there's so many things that we let define us by a number. So this misunderstanding that everybody was having was not just about bra size at all. And I mean, you can pick a number, any number, and they were mostly defining us. But here's the truth, and if you get nothing else from this episode, this is what I want you to hear. The truth is that numbers are information. They are not a definition of who you are. Breathe and say that with me. Numbers are information. They are not a definition of who I am. So, of course, in true me fashion, the only way I could think to get this message out to the world, because I was doing it one person at a time here in the fitting room, I was like, no, we need more people, was for me to create a campaign. And so I was like, I pitched all these brands and said, listen, I think this is a great idea for a marketing campaign for you. I'll produce it. I'll fit the people for the bras. This will be so good for you. And nobody bit. Nobody was into it. And I was just like, this is nuts. Like, this is such a great point. This is so empowering. This is so on brand for like measurements and taking bra sizes. Like, someone has to do this. And so I finally just decided to step out from behind the camera, which is what I had been working in for a while when I first started my business, and thought, you know what? I'm just going to produce this. I'm going to be in it. I'm going to call in all my friends and creative folks that I know and just make this happen. And I did. Now, again, I had this idea back in 2016. By the December of 2016 is when we had our first shoot. And like I said, I just called on friends of all different shapes and sizes and body needs. And in fact, one person I had met at a conference, like a women's workshop conference, just weeks prior to the shoot. It might have even been sooner than that. And she was so inspiring me. She had the best energy. And she was a person who had breast cancer, and she'd had a double mastectomy. And instead of getting implants and having reconstructive surgery, she determined that she was going to stay flat. And I was so impressed with this vibrancy and power that she had. And I think even at this conference, she like took off her blouse and let everybody just see her bare chest. And I was like, I don't know this woman, but I need to call her up. Her name is Precious, by the way. And I need her to be in this campaign. Because that measurement across the chest, usually when we measure for a bra, we measure the underbust and the bust, is going to be a very different number than somebody else's. And look at her. She's not defining herself by that. And so, yeah, long story short, she did end up being in the campaign. She's amazing. I had another two people dealt with weight, Brooke and Liz. And One of them actually had like an eating disorder, and just the power of taking their measurements and saying these numbers do not define me was so vivid. I just remember it so much. And then we did another campaign. I called in more friends. I said, that was so fun. Let's do it again. So I did another one, did a whole photo shoot. We did video shoot. It was so fun. And again, this was just me trying to get this out there into the world because I wanted more people to know that their bra size did not have to be scary. It did not have to define them. By the way, sometimes you just have to like do stuff yourself. So it's just for anybody who's thinking like there's a message you want to get out, this brand should be doing it, or I wish that company would do it. Just do it yourself. Honestly, sometimes you just have to get the thing out yourself. And so we went from that to then it got picked up by Insider, and it was suddenly became global. I have a little list here because we kept a little running list of where this was featured. It was on Bustle. It was in the Independent UK. It went to the BBC radio. Then it went to all these other places that like countries. I was like, what? How did this even get picked up? It was in a bunch of different languages. It was wild. And more people were talking about More Than My Numbers and claiming this out loud. It was so cool. And then also every single time I think about ending this campaign, every single time I'm like, okay, that sort of wraps it up. We're sort of exhausted what we can talk about over here. Somebody finds it fresh. Somebody finds it anew and says to me, I needed to hear this. I have been defining myself by my enter a number, weight, age, salary, bra size, whatever. And I needed to hear this message. And I'm like, okay, we're going to do it again. We're going to do it again. And so now it's become a signature talk of mine. I've given this speech in New York City. I've actually given it as a keynote speaker in Spain recently. That was my most recent talk on this. And so, of course, I knew I had to bring it here too. So here's some of the things that I want you to know. Numbers can change, okay? If you think of somebody like Serena Williams, and in this presentation that I have for when I do this like speaking thing, I have a whole big, presentation up on a screen of like all of Serena Williams' numbers. Now, in general, Serena Williams, who is a phenomenal athlete, great entrepreneur, just like all around awesome woman, I think we'd think she's pretty successful, right? And I think we'd think she's a pretty decent human being, like, wow, impressive. And yet, if you look at her numbers alone, and you look at how many wins she had during certain years or how much she made and earned, I have this whole chart. You can see a big dip, like right when you think she'd be hitting her stride. And I always ask people, do we think that Serena is a less valuable person because her numbers went down? Is she a worse tennis player? Is she a worse human? And in most cases, people sort of struggle with this one because they think, well, in sports, like you really are judged by how many wins you have or how much you've earned, your purse size. But I'm talking about her as a human, her as a woman. Is she less valuable? Does she deserve less love, respect, kindness, safety because her numbers dipped? Not to mention, we don't even know why they dipped. We look at the number alone, it tells us nothing about what's going on in her life that year. Maybe that was the year that she became a mother. Maybe it was the year that she decided to dedicate herself to her mental health, thinking of you, Simone Biles. Maybe it's the year that she launched her brand, her clothing line, and decided, I'm not going to compete as much this year. There's so much that numbers cannot tell us, and there's a ton that it can. And here's the thing, we're going to talk about this in a minute. It's not all or nothing. It's not, I never look at numbers and I don't want to see them ever, or I become obsessed with them, right? It's not that. But it cannot tell us the full picture. So numbers can change, but your worth does not. Your bra size, your weight, your salary, the number of children you have, your GPA, your credit score, your age, they can all change. They will all change. But who you are, your character, and your value do not change. And you cannot measure, I don't care what measuring tape you're using, you cannot measure your worth, your value. Oof. Honestly, I ask people all the time, like, do you want to measure me in courage? Not circumference, please? Because that's really where I feel that my most value is in my values, is in my, who I am as a person, my character, not my bust size, not my salary. Mm-mm. That's who I am. Okay, we have to take a little break here. I have so much to tell you about this campaign, but also how this can apply to you today. So go ahead, take a little sip of something, take a break, and we'll be right back. Do you think knowing your bra measurements means you're all set? Nope. Getting a good fit is about way more than the numbers. In my Bra Confidence and Comfort course, we start with Module 1, Embrace, a mindset reset to help you untangle your self-worth from your bra size, because you are so much more than a number. Then, in the Comfort and Select modules, explore the real style options that will work with your wardrobe, and finally get the support that your body deserves. And in the Ritual module, we'll build a daily practice that will help you show up with confidence inside, outside, and underneath. Say goodbye to settling. Say hooray to comfort and confidence at hooraykimmay.com/BCC. Hooray! Okay, we are back. Hooray! We're talking more than my numbers. I know somebody needed to hear this today because there's no judgment here. We're in the hooray zone. So I don't want you to feel bad if you were buying into a misbelief that who you are is based on some kind of numerical order, right? I don't want you to feel bad if you were taught you had to achieve a certain weight or number or bra size in order to be a loved human, because we get that message a lot. Like on the regular basis, we are told how to define ourselves and our worth, and it's very numerical. So this is just you taking one step today to try a new way and say, okay, if I didn't use weight, age, salary, or bra size as a definition, what would I use them as? So we could use them as data. We could use them as information to make a loving and informed decision about what to do. Because here's the thing, I know that God did not lovingly create and knit you together just for you to grow up and go, ugh, when you see a size on a tag. And I know you were not divinely made from the same materials as stars just for numbers to bring you shame. And I know you have a much bigger purpose in this world than to let your current numbers pressure you into feeling like you're too much or you're not enough. Okay? Person listening, saying this to myself as well, because I'm human and I feel the same pressure as you. So this is a loving reminder to all of us. Okay? Hooray. So here's my question for you. What numbers are you letting define you? Maybe even subconsciously. Maybe you're not even aware of a certain number that is sort of clamping onto your identity. I'm just going to breathe here and let you think about it. There's always at least one. And another way to look at this, and this is what I call hooray work, which is like homework, but hooray work. You can go journal about this, you can go think about this, but I want you to think like, what are the numbers that you check in on a lot and you put a lot of attention to? That's one place to sort of see like, oof, where have I become like a little obsessive about this number? What am I checking on a regular basis and then defining how good my day is going or how good I am or if I did a good job or not, right? Like there's definitely space here for I'm obsessed and I've gone a little too far. That's a great place to look. Another place to look is where are you avoiding numbers? Y'all, remember when I said numbers are information, not a definition? They are good information for us to have sometimes. And I have so much compassion for those who need a break from a number. That was me. I had to take a break from sorry, I had to collect myself there for a second. I had to take a break from weight, from the scale, because I had become way too obsessed. I was constantly weighing myself and then trying to get to a certain number because I thought once I arrived at that number that I would suddenly be beautiful. I would be deemed worthy of being beautiful, and then I would be attractive and valuable and fit in and enough. And I want to tell you, I did hit that number. And I did not feel awesome. In fact, I had made myself really sick. I did not feel healthy. And I still had the same shame and unworthiness that I had 20 pounds earlier. So it's so important to know when to let go and when to swing the pendulum another way. But I do want to encourage you in a safe, healthy, respectful for yourself way to lovingly take a look at the numbers. Because there were other numbers, like my bank account, that I just ignored. And that got me into trouble financially a few times. And I would claim they're just too confusing. I don't really care. I would also use this sort of righteous, I'm not about money, it's not about the money for me. But again, it was sort of a lack of respect for myself to go in and see what was really going on, to be a good steward of that money, to be really smart with my finances and make good, loving, informed decisions about what to do with those finances. I was totally ignoring them. So that might be another place for you to look. And here's the thing too, being at war with your numbers or pretending that they don't exist. Neither one is really a peaceful place to be. And you can know your numbers and still know your power. And you can know your numbers and not let them own you. Listen up, y'all. I know someone listening has a number or two that they're just like, ugh, I've not even looked at that. I won't acknowledge it. I feel it's too heavy, it's too shameful, it's too whatever. This is your opportunity to lovingly let that go. So one over here that you may not be surprised about that I work with people a lot on because of what I do in the world is bra size. As you heard me say, a lot of people are so nervous to go in and get measured or to take their own measurements because of what that might mean about them, that their body has changed, that they've aged, that they're too much, that they're not enough, that it's going to be hard, quote unquote. Big quotes around the word hard. It'll be hard to find bras for themselves because that's just a crazy size. This is my loving invitation for you to take deep breaths, to look at those numbers lovingly, to let them inform you so you can then determine what starting sizes are going to work best for you and your beautiful body. Not knowing your size, by the way, does not protect you and your self-worth. It just prevents your comfort. Like, you could be so much more comfortable walking around and honoring your beautiful body if you wore something that actually fit rather than like, I could never wear something above a D cup, or there's no way a 40 band fits me, or there's no way a 32G fits me, right? There's just so much that we carry here right on the chest about who we are that we can lovingly let go. That size, by the way, is just a starting point for support. It's not a verdict on your value. Did you hear me? So the next time you're thinking of going shopping, you can absolutely get support and go to a wonderful, professional fitter, and they can measure you and you do not have to look at the numbers. If that truly is a painful place for you, then I just want you to get the support and don't even look at the numbers. If you're ready to take a step and ask that person without the definition of what am I, and just say, great, what am I measuring so I can be informed? What sizes are fitting me best today? And just look at it as data, not a definition of who you are. Woo! I'll be so excited for you. And if you can do that at home, if you can take your own measurements without the pressure to be smaller or to squeeze it and make yourself thinner, or without judging the size that comes back when you make your calculations, y'all, wow, I will be so excited for you. So this is my invitation to take that first step. I'm going to drop this in the show notes, but I'll tell you right now, if you go to hooray.com/bra size, I have literal free tools to tell you how to measure your underbust and your bust, and then do a little bra math, and then calculate your bra size starting points. These might be wildly different than what you are going to start with. They might not match the idea you have in your mind of who you are. Big air quotes around that. So this is a wild, beautiful invitation for exploration, for an experiment. Just go test it out and just go see. Okay? I want you to spend some time with your numbers and just get curious. Really ask yourself, what am I letting this mean about me? And is it 100% true? So for example, is this bra size mean I'm too much? that I'm not beautiful, that I'm too old, that I'm too big. And then keep asking yourself, like, well, what does that really mean? What does that really mean? And then is that 100% true? Because I think the truth is probably more around, and this is what I want you to ask, like, if that's not true, what is true instead? Something like, my value doesn't come with a price tag or a size tag. The truth is, I love saying these things, like the truth is there's no formula for being enough. I already am. The truth is, I am not defined by a damn number. Check it out, try it on for size, start with bra size. It's my favorite place to start. And see if there are any other numbers that you're holding the same definition to, or the same shame to, or the same empowerment to, that if it changed tomorrow, would that suddenly change your identity? And I really want to ask you, like, what can you celebrate and how can you pour gratitude over some of your numbers without worrying that if those numbers change, you suddenly wouldn't be worthy anymore? Here are my final thoughts. Here's the truth. I want you to walk away today knowing that you are allowed to know your numbers. You're even encouraged you're even encouraged to get curious about them, but you are not required to let them determine your value. Knowing your numbers is an act of care and self-respect and generous love for yourself. Letting them define your worth, that's a no for me. You are not your age. You are not your weight. You are not your income or your bra size. You are a whole, sacred, complex being with immeasurable value. And that means you can learn about your body, your bank account, the size on the tag without handing over your power, without handing over the definition of who you are. So go ahead, know your numbers, but never forget you are so much more than them. Say it with me right now. I am more than my numbers. As always, I see you. I believe in you. I'm so proud of you. This is a hard thing for a lot of people to do. So if you're taking this step today, I'm just so proud of you. Hooray. Oh my goodness. So that was an episode, wasn't it, y'all? More Than My Numbers means so much to me. You can find out more about it at morethanmynumbers.com. Right now, we're going to go into a little hooray Q&A. Oh, I hear it. I hear it. It's time, y'all, for another Q&A with Kimmay. Oh my gosh. So this question is a long one. I hear the plea in this, and it starts out with, help, I'm so depressed. Then says, spent so much time doing research and with a fitter at Nordstrom's, I went from a 36 double D walk hole to a 32H Chantel. All because I'm so sick of my bras falling down. Every day, I end the day with marks on my stomach and torso, 2 inches below my breasts. It was great for one wear, and then boom, back to falling. I'm going to return it. Thank God for Nordstrom's return, but please tell me, please, she says, please, please, tell me, what am I doing wrong? I'm so desperate for a good bra. I feel this. Oh my gosh. And then she gives a little description about herself. She's like, I'm 49 years old. I'm an underwire wearer with a very short torso, 150 pounds, 5'5", breastfed 3 kids, and I'm sick of having boobs in my stomach. All of this context is so important, but the number one thing we're going to address here is you have been going through it. First of all, I know there's other people here who are going through the same kind of battle and feel like just nothing works. So my hands are at your back and your front. Do not worry. We got you. The number one most important thing I want to gift you here is this idea of trial and error. Because I think sometimes we feel like we want a problem fixed right away. And if it doesn't happen right away, then like it's all or nothing. And like, we're never going to find anything. What am I doing wrong? This person was wrong. That's not right, whatever. And I think of bras sometimes as medicine, because if you've ever gone to a doctor and you've given them all your symptoms, the doctor will usually say, well, let's try this first. This is the protocol for this. Let's try this. And then you have to go back to the doctor and say, this is how it worked or didn't work, or these are the side effects that I'm having. And is it worth it? Is this prescription and this dose exactly what I want? Because there's no one and done with bra sizing. It's not like you just get measured and suddenly, we know exactly what size you're going to be in every bra. There we go. Now, it does sound like this fitter, and Nordstrom, by the way, typically has a pretty good reputation, but fitter by fitter and bra by bra, it's going to change. But it does sound like they probably did something right, taking you from the 36 band to the 32 band, because typically people are wearing bra sizes that are too big in the band. I wonder if you needed a 30 instead. So without knowing your actual under bust or bust measurements or fitting you in person and feeling that elasticity on your bra, I don't know. But I have a feeling that there's a couple things going on here. So the band could still be too big. 2, how did you wash your bra? This is not like you are the problem, okay? But I have to say, how did you wash your bra? Because if it's washed in the washer and the dryer, the elasticity is literally just gonna right away. And so now it's not gonna fit anymore. So I have a feeling you're very conscientious and you didn't do that. But for anyone listening, please don't get a bra that fits well and then put it in the washer and the dryer. You'll just ruin how it fits. And then 3 is also, how are you sitting? So again, our bodies are movable. And when we're standing up straight and that underwire is right under the breast root, which is what we want, and we want it to stay there, it can stay if the band is snug enough and it fits well. So we have to see if your band is the right size. But also, I, short torso person myself, have a tendency to lean forward when I'm working at my desk. And now my underwires are on my tummy. Not because they dripped down and my bra was too loose, but just because I've now changed the contortion of my body. So I wonder if that's happening here too. My number one guess is that the band size is still too big. So I highly encourage you to use a free tool that I have. If you go to hooray.com/bra size, it'll walk you through how to take your underbust and your bust measurements with grace and with kindness for yourself, and then to do a little bit of math and figure out what are your bra size starting points. It might have been that Chantel bra was a great bra. It might have even been that it was a good size for you. And maybe it was just a little too elastic and the 30 would have been done even better. But that bra doesn't come in the 30I that you need. So your fitter was just doing the best she could and was honestly trying to get you the support that you deserve. So there's a lot to unpack here. Again, the number one thing is to take it easy, a little trial and error, and to just lovingly gift yourself the time and effort to go through this process, because you and your beautiful body are worth it. Hooray. Okay, I hope that answers your question. If anybody else out there has a question for me too, please let me know and then share this with somebody else who needs a hooray. Hooray! Hooray! That's a wrap for this edition of The Hooray Show. If you love this episode, subscribe, leave a review, and share it with someone who could use a dose of hooray in their day. Come on over and say hi at Hooray Kimmay on Instagram and grab the show notes with any links to what we discussed, shopping codes, or more information on our guests at hooraykimmay.com/podcast. I hope today's episode helped you say hooray inside, outside, or underneath, or maybe all three. Either way, thanks for spending some time with me. Until next time.